Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Dynasty Six Pack. Yet another episode as we talk about rookies, but not only will we focus on rookie prospects from a certain position, we'll also have a mock draft. So stay tuned and join us for this draft here on the Dynasty Six Pack. Yes, here we are as we approach the NFL draft. We're going to focus on another rookie prospect position here on the Dynasty Six Pack, part of the Fantasy Six Pack Network. So anyone who's available to join us live, whether it's on YouTube or Facebook, feel free to leave any comments because the second portion of the show will could include some audience participation. But as always, we're going to start talking about quarterbacks for this episode of Rookie Talk. And we are I'm Kyle Senra. That's me. That's Rahul, and I'm pointing the wrong way again. And that's Jamie. And that was a really bad intro. It's almost like I'm not a really good signal caller. That other signal callers that have come before are better than this. And this is not a good signal caller year. Maybe that's a signal for what we're going to talk about today's draft. Maybe not, but we'll find out.
You know what? That's
how do you guys like that? And now that you've survived that, are you good?
I thought you turned that around pretty well, Kyle. And in general, you're selling yourself pretty short. I think maybe one of the best signal callers that I've personally worked with. And I think I would like to take a lot of your traits when I return to my signal calling days, whatever that may be. But it's good to be back with you both. Another exciting episode ahead. I did have major Wi-Fi troubles last time. I couldn't. My completion percentage was not on point, but. That's my best attempt, but anyway, I'm hoping to be here for 100% of the show this time.
Okay, we wouldn't want to pass over you. We certainly wouldn't. Glad you didn't pass over those jokes. That's good. Makes me feel better. And Jamie, is this going to be a fire episode or what? Supposedly you're back.
It is, man. Just like your fire intro, that song that played. Not many of you know this, but Kyle recorded that himself. That is Kyle playing.
Really?
So that is a fire song right there. So
that is wow. I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Thank you, Rahul. And thank you, Jamie. And thank you for joining. And yes, everyone wants to participate, including Jamie. He's going to double participate. He's going to participate and be the commish because he's a commish extraordinaire of this mock draft. But yes, feel free to subscribe to the Fantasy Six Pack YouTube channel for sure. And that's where you join us live. You could participate in the mock draft we're going to do afterwards. Also check out fantasy6pack.com. We got the Fantasy Six Pack Discord. Places like the Discord might be where we pick some of our trade of the week trades. Not this week though, but other weeks you might. But yes, we'll get to all that later. But we're going to start right off the bat talking about rookie quarterbacks. So let's go right ahead and hit quarterback number one in our aggregate rankings. Not unanimous, just like the wide receiver position. There is a little bit of debate. But at number one, we do have Cam Ward. Now, Rahul, you and I both have Cam Ward at number one. Jamie, you have him at two. So, Rahul, we'll start with you. What do you? Why do you like Cam Ward the best as the QB1 in this class?
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to take it to something that happened very recently to start. And just yesterday, all these quotes from Cam Ward playing Fortnite came out where he basically let the cat out of the bag that he's going to be a Tennessee Titan. He called Pollard and Spears amongst the four best running backs in the league. He called Treylon Burks the fourth best wide receiver. It was hilarious. And as of last night, I'm officially a Cam Ward guy. I think we've known he's going to be the 101. Maybe like he's almost been weighed down by the idea this is not the best quarterback class, but really diving into Cam Ward, for this episode and getting ready for Dynasty drafts, I'm starting to feel really strongly about him and really good about Cam Ward as propping up like the top end of like the early 2025 rookie firsts. Getting into Ward himself, he's going to be a gunslinger. He is a gunslinger. He's going to be very fun to watch in the NFL. He's got good size to him. Showed a lot of mobility, though didn't really scramble too much. I think that's something we could see from his game at the next level. There are some criticisms with his style. Sometimes he's a little, nonchalant. That could be good. It could be fun, but he is a little bit casual sometimes with like the arm angle that he throws the ball can get in trouble. And sometimes he tries to play hero ball a little bit too much. All of those are valid criticisms that I think with time, time at the NFL level he could be coached out of. You hear that about a lot of these like gunslinger prospects. Like if they can play with a little more control, it would do them a world of good. So I don't think there's anything like unfixable. I think one negative I do also just want to highlight on is he only had a 39% pass completion in the red zone. And that's something we'd certainly like to see improve at the next level. But beyond those weaknesses, I really feel good about Cam Ward translating to the next level. And specifically the Tennessee Titans, this is one prospect we can feel pretty good about putting that landing spot to, as he himself has let us know. But Tennessee Titans have really invested a lot in their O-line, both through the draft in the last few years and as well as through free agency. Weapons-wise, pass game, not the best. They gave really the bag to Calvin Ridley, and he's been, 2,000-yard season since he came back from his extended ban. They've got a good run game. Coach should be a pretty QB-friendly scheme. I kind of yapped a lot there, but I feel good about the prospect. I feel good about the situation. I feel good about the guy. Really, like the story from going from a 0-star recruit to, being the number one pick in the draft, how he's really worked his way to the level. He seems very measured in interviews. I'm a big Cam Ward guy. I honestly can't say enough about him. Those are my thoughts.
Well, I think part of the appeal right now of Cam Ward, as we do this before the NFL draft, is it seems pretty locked in that he's going to go to the Tennessee Titans, that he's going to be the number one overall pick. And for every other quarterback in this class, where do they go in the first round? For some of them, do they even go in the first round? I guess there's a lot of them we know they won't, but there's still some question marks. And where are those landing spots? The certainty of he's going to the Titans and he's starting day one, that has some appeal to the value. I am a little skeptical when it comes to the QB production. And so I've got I could call it, I guess, my QB prospect score. And I compile a few things, just a few stats. Passing touchdowns, subtracting interceptions, adding completion percentage, and also rushing yards per game over the course of their career. And so I've scored out every quarterback that's been drafted since the 2017 season. So what I'm going to do is I'll pull up this score sheet actually for round one here. And I've got, because we don't know about a couple other guys, Jaxson Dart and Jalen Milroe, namely, I just put Cam Ward, Shadeur Sanders in just as examples of where do they kind of rank relative to some of the other quarterbacks in this class. Yeah. So Cam Ward's down here, almost an identical score, almost to the decimal point, or to the 10th decimal point of what Bryce Young was. So maybe Bryce Young is a close comparison of what we expect from a quarterback. But I'm especially looking, since 2017, that would put Cam Ward as the 17th best prospect. This page is just first rounders. So there's some other highly scored prospects taken in different rounds. But from in the last, 8, 9 draft classes, he'd be 17th overall, which is not bad, but it's also not great. And the one spot I really wanted to magnify here, both literally and figuratively, was the first overall quarterback taken. Because again, we have certainty that it's probably going to be him. So where does he rank just relative to those other guys that are first overall? And that's why, again, I think Bryce Young is a really close comparison. Better than Kenny Pickett and Mitch Trubisky, but worse than every other quarterback in that time span. And like looking at Baker Mayfield, Caleb Williams, Trevor Lawrence, Joe Burrow, Kyler Murray, their scores are all incredibly impressive. I mean, Baker is third since 2017 in terms of this prospect score. So I guess I do have some hesitation about Ward, of maybe not relative to this class, but I think relative to the QB landscape in total, how much of a difference maker is he going to be? And so I don't know that I necessarily, because again, I agree with you, Rahul, I have him as the QB1, but at this point, I'm not sure how early I want to invest in him relative to other positions. I think that's really the question. It's not even so much him versus other quarterbacks. At least not for us. Jamie, however, I guess unless you want to focus on Cam Ward, this is a good spot to reveal your quarterback one in the class.
Well, I do want to talk a little bit about Cam Ward, but London in the chat, London Gonzalez, he agrees. He likes the OC for Cam, and he likes your unique analytics.
I just want to shout
out London.
Yeah, Landon is the guy who provided the trade we're going to be talking about.
Oh, I can't wait. Okay,
today.
we'll talk about that later.
Thank you for jumping in the chat, Landon. It's great to see you here. Hope you enjoy the content.
And we ramble a lot, so sorry if it takes a while to get to your trade of the week. But yes,
so I am hoping to rise on Cam Ward a little bit after I see him play in the NFL. Like, he was the ACC Player of the Year. He was a first-team All-American. He broke Miami's single-season record for passing yards and touchdowns. He also had a 67.2% completion for his passes, which is another program record. Yeah, like, he looks like a guy that's built for the modern NFL. Like, he was considered, he should have declared last year. He was thinking about it, but if he would have, where would you put him? I would put him in a day 2. I don't think he would have been a first round. Not even first round.
If I go to my prospect like score, like, he's well behind Jaden Daniels and Caleb and even Drake May.
Yeah.
Like, so then you're really talking. I mean, he's ahead of Penix and.
But the year he had last year, he did have a legitimate jump, which actually brought his stock up. Like, he's a mobile pocket passer. Like, he's calm. I could just see him being good for the NFL. Like, he keeps his eyes downfield when he scrambles, which is huge. Like, his arm strength, and I think Rahul, you mentioned that. Like, he throws with like zip on the ball, and he could drop it like 50 plus yards downfield without even needing to like put muscle into it. But some of his stuff I'm worried about is his accuracy issues, especially when moving off of his first read. Like, I've seen him miss a lot on his second or his third options more than he should. So, like, in super flex, I mean, we'll do a super flex draft later. He's just going way too early for me.
Yeah.
And like, I don't have many of those early picks, and I'm not mad that I'm not going to have any shares of him. So I'm good with it.
I think the stats that really stand out to him being so good: 87 career passing touchdowns in college.
The college leader in passing touchdowns is me.
Sorry?
I think no quarterback has more passing touchdowns than Cam Ward in college football.
Oh, history.
Yeah, I thought it was just a school record.
History.
You could be right.
In history, in college football history, Cam Ward is
the
the touchdown leader. Of course, he played.
I actually don't have him as the touchdown leader in this class, so maybe I'll look that up. But
what's that?
I think it's school record, to be honest. But I've got him at 87 passing touchdowns for his career. Now, I wasn't counting rushing touchdowns. I don't know if he has a significant edge. The rushing yards per game isn't as high as I was maybe expecting of him, but it looks like he's a capable athlete. I know with college stats, they also take sacks out of your rushing total. So it also seems like he has a bit of Caleb Williams in him. Last year's first overall quarterback. The hero ball, extending plays maybe too long, holding on to the ball too long can also lead to sacks. So I do wonder if that's a bit of a risk. He's not necessarily as productive as a rusher as some other guys. At least that's what my great unique analytic models say, which I get. Thank you, Landon, and thanks for joining us. But Jamie, time to talk about a quarterback that does have. I mean, I have it as over three times as many rush yards per game in his college career as Cam Ward. So Jamie's number one, our number two, overall, partially because of Jamie making it so high, is Jaxson Dart. So Jamie, take it away.
Yeah, because we're playing fantasy football. We want that upside. We're not here to play it safe. So Jaxson Dart is going to be my number one quarterback. Just 3 words. He's an athlete. He's got speed and he's got toughness. Like, he played as a true freshman in 2021. Like, he's dangerous on design runs and scrambles. He's lethal when the plays break down. He always keeps his eyes downfield too while he's moving. I mentioned that with Cam Ward. Like, his release is clean. They're quick, especially on those like short, mid-range throws. He's got that pocket toughness, and he like takes hits, but he still delivers while he's taking those hits. Like, his leadership, the guys, he brings it. He's vocal, he's intense. He's one of those team first players, and he is my quarterback one in this class. Like, if draft capital and landing spot are solid for him, like, I'm going to target him in that early to late first, or like the mid to late first. And I'm not going to let him fall to the second round where I've been seeing him going. But if he falls to round 2, I'm grabbing him every single pick. I'll trade up to get that pick. I just think he's going to be that damn good.
By the way, Rahul, I did look it up. Ward was this is spelt wrong. That's bugging me. I have to change it immediately on the stream. But Ward was, well, I don't know why I didn't catch that earlier. Apparently it didn't bug me enough then, but he was the single season leader last season. So you were correct there. I was looking I was looking at career total numbers. That's where the 87 touchdowns came. So
but honestly, I'm literally reading Cam Ward holds the NCAA Division I record for career touchdown passes with a total of 158, which does include his 2 years at Incarnate Ward.
Okay, maybe.
So maybe I think it's an FCF FBS school. So perhaps the 87 is at the level that you were looking at, but
yeah, okay.
I'm pretty sure he is the college football touchdown leader.
Okay, never mind then. Sorry, but anyway, to JV's point though, the rush yards per game, and that's I think the one stat that really stands out here when I'm showing Ward versus Dart on screen. I've got Ward and Sanders is like a tier of their own because they're the locked in first rounders, and Dart and Milroe kind of could be first rounders but might not. I guess the more hype we get on Dart though, the honestly, Jamie, if he does get first round capital and it's early enough and it looks like the starting job is like the path is there, he's not behind another quarterback, I probably will raise him to QB1. Like, he's got the one guy who gets over 34 rushing yards per game through his career, 81 passing touchdowns too. So I guess maybe Rahul's point, maybe then we're underrating Ward a little bit if we're counting those other stats. His prospect score would be a lot higher. So I guess I'm kind of stuck on how to evaluate Ward versus Dart there. But the rushing, as soon as we put our stats together or our rankings together, and I saw that Jamie had Dart number 1, I was almost a little ashamed that I didn't have it because the prospect score that I have does have Dart with the higher score, but the certainty of Ward, where he's going, how early he's going, really is.
Just don't sleep on him, man.
We're in that like weird. I mean, we sit here 8 days before round 1 of the NFL draft, and if you take us to like a couple of years ago, this is when people were taking Malik Willis with like the 102 in pre-NFL draft, like rookie drafts, like Matt Corral, like all these like kind of names that we could go through that were like expected to go first round. Not saying that's what's going to happen with Jaxson Dart, who has been getting a lot of steam. I think just to address like the class as a whole for a second, I think Cam Ward is firmly my QB1 because we know he's going to be the 101 in the NFL draft. And I do think QBs 2 through 4 we're going to talk about. I expect him to go in the top 40 picks in the NFL draft. Even QB4, which maybe just even a week ago I probably would have scoffed at myself for thinking this guy's up here. But that's kind of what the buzz has been. And I think with skill players, it's a little bit easier for us to analyze them with both with analytics and as well as what we could see in the tape. With QBs, I really, it's nearly impossible to. I think for folks who have done this for a long time, they have more credibility than I certainly do, and I'm going to be looking at what the NFL tells us. And for me, Cam Ward is going to be the QB1 because we know he's going to go 101. That being said, Jaxson Dart goes 7 to the Jets, 9 to the Saints. Down to, I think Steelers at 21 could be a great fit for Jaxson Dart with what we've seen him thrive at Ole Miss. He's very, very good at play action. He's excellent throwing the ball at intermediate areas of the field. He's very tough, like what JB said. He'll stand in the pocket like right to last minute, he's about to get clattered, and he'll deliver the ball. And I think all of those are great traits for the kinds of offenses we could see him land at. I just have a little more hesitation with almost the volatility of his play. I think at times, like, he'll master a certain like concept early in the game, and second half he just completely, blows it up, or he struggles to sometimes throw under pressure or on the move. Is like, his like footwork isn't the best. I think he struggles with like the tougher reads or disguise like concepts. And I think he's going to see a lot more of that at the next level. And for me, like going back to draft capital, but even without the draft capital, I feel much stronger with Cam Ward as a prospect. Though I do hear you, Jamie, and I recognize a lot of those traits. And like you started your point, you can't ignore that upside. We're playing fantasy football at the end of the day, right? And Jaxson Dart has put a lot of that on, on the stat sheet, and with like the prospect he is, he's going to run at the next level. So we don't know if Ward can do. I think he can do it. We don't know for sure because he hasn't done it yet.
So I did just realize too that I wasn't actually sharing my screen on the stream. So now people can actually see that the prospect scores here. And yeah, Dart, 153.4 versus a 140.7. Just for quick reference, actually, if Dart was a first rounder, where would he be in the where would he be relative to, I mentioned Ward is 17th. Dart with a 153.4 puts him, as you'll see here, he put him 13th, right between Kyler Murray and Patrick Mahomes. So, if Dart could be, it could be Mahomes Murray-esque. Like, that's a great fantasy asset to have. So again, to Jamie's point of why he's his QB1, and it could ultimately end up being the correct take. Well, whereas Rahul and I right now we're playing it safe with Ward. Is it time to play the record on to the next guy, next track? Number 3 in our consensus rankings, Shadeur Sanders. I think technically he had the same aggregate ranking as Jaxson Dart, but I broke the tie to Dart because Jamie had him at 1, whereas in this case, Rahul and I both have him at 2, and Jamie, you have him at 3. So for all of us, this was our the same top 3. It's the 3 quarterbacks expected to be the first 3 off the board. I think there's the appeal there. The one part of Shadeur's profile, I guess actually I can go back to sharing the screen. I don't know why I unshared. I had to change the banner. That's why. But for these, like just where Shadeur would end up being, out of 32 quarterbacks, and it would be, if Dart's taken in the first round, that'd be 33. 34 if it's Milroe. But out of 32 right now, so that's 30 quarterbacks since 2017 drafted in the first round, plus Ward and Sanders. We see Sanders is 26th with his prospect score, right ahead of Anthony Richardson. And because it's career numbers, Richardson having 12 starts, he was really hurt by that. I mean, same thing with Trubisky. That's one of the things that led me to that, was how much better guys like Watson and Mahomes were than Trubisky, because they had the multiple seasons starting. So with Sanders, his score being so low, but I also wonder, is his score so low because I thought the Jackson State stuff counted too. I thought that was in the sample size, but maybe it's not. Maybe that's why it's so low, but I'm pretty sure it was. But one thing that really stood out to why his score was so low was negative rush yards per game, which that means A, he's not running a lot, but B, he's also taking a lot of sacks. If his rushing yards per game over the course of his career is actually a negative. So that really hurts his score here. The one thing that really elevates his score is he's the only QB in this class with a completion percentage over 70. I think it's 71% or something. So that's the great trait of his. It seems like just high completion percentage, and it seems like it's good accuracy kind of across the whole field. So it seems like he's a good accurate passer. Seems like he'll be a really good NFL quarterback, but the lack of rush yards, like the really bad lack of rush yards and taking too many sacks, is kind of a red flag fantasy wise for me. Whereas again, right now he's 2 because he feels like he's a pretty safe prospect. But if there's 4 round 1 quarterbacks, of the 4, he's got the worst score. I probably will rank him 4th after the NFL draft, unless it's someone really surprising that goes as the 4th QB that we weren't expecting. I don't know. He's 2 for me right now, but definitely has the risk of falling. Now, Land is making a good point to saying Cam has the most upside in his opinion. So I guess that idea is the combination of great passing and athleticism, whereas I guess Dart and Shadeur, they kind of isolate each of those, right? Like Dart's the runner. We love that for fantasy. Shadeur seems like he's a great passer, but Ward maybe is the best of both worlds, I suppose. Right? He's got the passing upside, but also a certain amount of rushing upside that I don't think Shadeur Sanders has. Is that fair?
I think that's a perfect way of putting it. I think Shadeur Sanders, I obviously had him at 2, and again, Kyle, that might also just be me playing it a little conservative. I think Shadeur just gets a lot of stick on like Twitter and like the circles that I think we like converse or like part of the conversation. He gets a lot of stick from draft gurus and such. But while his accuracy might be his like elite trait, maybe his like processing is like better than the other QBs coming out of this class. He doesn't have like that elite. Certainly doesn't have an elite arm. He doesn't have that arm talent, strength. He's not like a dynamic rusher. Maybe in his head, he thinks he's more dynamic of a rusher than he actually is. He tries to like turn the corner and he gets caught at the college level. And like that's certainly not happening in the NFL, man. But what I do want to address the sacks. It's very true. He was bottom 5th percentile in this class in EPA on sacks taken, and that's like an ultimate no-no, not just from a fantasy point of view, which you were addressing, but from an NFL point of view. This is really why Justin Fields was never going to be an NFL starting quarterback. 2025, and he's an NFL starting quarterback, but he just kept taking.
Although you said you like the Jets' landing spot, so
yeah,
is he a starting quarterback?
But you just can't be a long-term NFL starter if you're taking like horrid sacks on like 1st and 10. And suddenly you're playing behind the sticks like all the time. I will caveat that with Shadeur Sanders just played behind an absolutely horrendous O-line in both his years starting at Colorado. I think in the first year in 2023, he maybe hadn't got to that point of like mistrusting the line, and we saw maybe better parts of his game in 2023. In 2024, he almost seemed like he was like overcompensating for knowing like pressure is going to be right on him. He was like drifting a lot. Shadeur really also just had a terrible tendency to like hold on the ball a little too much, whether that's like try and break away or just like in general. He also had of the 5 quarterbacks or top 5 quarterbacks, including Tyler Shough. I don't know if he deserves to be in the group. He had by far the worst, slowest time to throw, I should say. All that being said, is that environment, is that Shadeur Sanders? It could be a bit of A, could be a bit of B. I do think his accuracy will stand him in pretty good stead in the NFL in a kind of way. Like, I think CJ Stroud, like heading into the draft that he got taken, there was a lot of fatigue around CJ Stroud. It's like not too many great attributes, and what he always had was like ball placement.
Except accuracy, right?
Except accuracy. And I feel like I keep coming back to that with Shadeur, who I do think is his like go-to trait is his like accuracy. Now, whether like is that going to be a difference maker at the NFL level? You see like only superhuman freaks are winning like the Super Bowl these days. Is that going to be a difference at the fantasy level? It's hard to say, but I do feel very comfortable with him as QB2, like as we sit here. For the reason we discussed, I do think a lot of his flaws, we have to take the situation into account. And I do think his good traits are being underlooked just a little bit with Shadeur Sanders.
And maybe we are maximizing the bad trait, holding on to the ball too long, because Cam has that too. Cam Ward, and we saw Caleb Williams. That was a big flaw last year. I think that was kind of a thing with Jaden Daniels, but that didn't follow through, and that really wasn't the case as a rookie. A little bit early, but then, by the end of September, it wasn't the case, and he was playing on time. And biggest QB red flag is when they don't play on time. And so, if there's a quick receiver open early in the progression, throw it, right? Don't always be chasing for the big play. I think that might be Sanders' flaws, because he thinks he can, and to a certain point, he's shown he can place the ball to make those big plays, but you don't always get the time needed to be able to wait for those receivers.
Exactly what I was going to say. He might be a little more situation dependent than some of these other guys,
Jamie, anything to say about Sanders?
It's like you might expect like big flashes from this guy just because of his name and his bloodline, but like he is more of that like precision technician. Like think of a Drew Brees, but I think people hear Sanders, they're thinking Lamar Jackson. That's not the case. Like his accuracy.
It doesn't seem like he's like the same level athlete his dad was.
Yeah. Like he does have the accuracy on short and intermediate throws. Like they're above average. I just don't think his deep ball throws are there because he spent nearly all of his snaps in college in the shotgun, right? So not even that, he's taking extra steps back, like sometimes 6-7 steps back from the shotgun.
His intermediate throws were deep because his ADOT was so high.
Exactly. So
he's trying to raise his ADOT artificially.
Like that extra time, it cost him some momentum. But like his leadership skills, like they are off the charts. He does command the huddle. Like he raises his team when it matters the most. But like he's got the mobility to escape pressure. But he really does shine in more of that like pocket presence, and like his arm strength isn't that elite. Like he's not the guy you're gonna like consistently push the ball 45 plus yards downfield, especially since he takes 10 steps back. Like I don't know. He just tends to take too many sacks. Also, I think Rahul, you mentioned that. And he tries to force plays rather than taking those safe throws. And his blitz recognition still needs a lot of work. So in the right system and the right coaching, like I think Shadeur, he could absolutely evolve into a star. It just depends on who he's with and what team he's with.
Well, I think that was a good breakdown of the top three. Well, maybe we'll try and run quicker through the next 6 quarterbacks, really.
Yeah. There's not there's one for fantasy.
Well, yeah, really. I mean, there's not much debate here. This is our unanimous number 4, Jalen Milroe. So I think really I'll run through it quickly to say he runs really fast. That's his big trait. He averaged 41.5 rush yards per game through his college career. Of the top 10 quarterbacks that I have ranked, actually the top 13 quarterbacks that I have ranked and scored out, he is the second highest for that rush yards per game. So that's the one thing that really elevates him. And I think what elevates him to me as QB4 above everyone else is he has a chance to go in the first round where it seems like no one else really does. Now he might not, and that I think will really hurt it. It probably won't hurt the QB ranking. It'll still probably be QB4, but is he a back-end first-round pick in Dynasty rookie drafts if he's a first-rounder? And then if not, okay, if he falls and appropriately to the second round of the NFL draft, he's a second-rounder in rookie drafts. So I think that's more where he's going to be relative to other positions more than his ranking shift. Go ahead.
So I don't know if you heard, but Jalen Milroe was invited to the draft for the first round.
Yes,
so
right.
They don't do that unless you're going to be taking it in the first round.
Now, I wonder... Because wasn't Malik Willis invited to the draft?
Oh,
Will Levis definitely was.
Levis was. I wonder if they like this guy sits. Like it's good TV. Like it sucks for the person, but I wonder if the drama of the NFL, they actually like that when a player sits and it becomes like, man, he's sitting so long. He goes all the way the next day. That's all anyone talks about. It's like it's extra news that they get. Like the NFL draft's already big news. They want to capitalize it. So I wonder if they're going to start doing this now. Anytime there's a quarterback that they don't expect will get first round capital, but is being mocked so, and people will think there's enough credence to do it, they'll invite them. And I mean, if they say no, they say no. But I mean, and the upside is that if Milroe goes in the first round, then the NFL looks like genius. It's like, oh, they invited him. Or they knew it was going to happen, right? But the upside is, man, if this drama happens, it's all anyone's going to be talking about. So that's my conspiracy theory is that I wonder if they've seen it with Rodgers, they saw it with Geno Smith, saw it with, again, you mentioned about Will Levis recently. That's my conspiracy theory. I'll keep this hat on. I'll take the tinfoil one off. Rahul, anything to say about Milroe?
Yeah, I mean, really for this one, I am looking at the NFL to give me like their thoughts on him. Like, obviously, phenomenal athlete. He's not just like a quarterback that runs a lot. He's truly an elite level runner. I think a crazy stat for me is of the 20 touchdowns he had rushing touchdowns he had in college, 12 were from over 20 yards out. Of his 16 passing touchdowns, they averaged 36. It averaged 36 passing yards per touchdown. So this is like an explosive like machine.
Okay. Big arm, even though he might not be the most accurate passer.
Exactly. And
he's I guess he's not quite the body that Richardson is, but the same kind of speed that Richardson is.
Yeah. Right? And that's the easiest comp to make is to Anthony Richardson. And one thing we can definitely say is Milroe is a hell of a lot more accurate than Anthony Richardson was. Now, Richardson only made 12 college starts. Milroe has made a little over twice that, 26, I believe. Sorry, Cam Ward has made 57, right? And I think Jaxson Dart is also like a 5-year starter, a relatively young one, but so Milroe is like kind of in between that. I think this is like the passing, like I kind of alluded to a little bit earlier. Like I don't know if landed with a very spicy take in the comments. I don't know what level of passer Jalen Milroe is, and I'll let the NFL tell me. 2 points I do want to bring up is how is last year's QB picks, 6 in the top 12, going to impact how we see QBs drafted this year? Our team's going to be a little more eager to take that big swing on a QB.
Since most of them worked, right? Like
most
we haven't seen McCarthy, but I think so far every team, the other 5, like the teams are probably happy with what they've seen from those quarterbacks.
Exactly, and this is like the classic prospect that like either you hit big or you miss big, and you're drafting in the top 5 again next year in 2 years time, right? So Jalen Milroe, I think now when we get to fantasy football, if he gets, I said a little bit ago, I expect these top 4 actually to go in the top 40. I expect Dart through Milroe, Dart, Shadeur, and Milroe, maybe like anywhere from like 15, 20 to 40. If they get like bunched in that like tight, like where it's really hard to differentiate them based on capital, maybe the landing spot will tell us a bit. I could even see Milroe being the fantasy QB2 just because of what he's going to bring on the ground. He could be a game breaker in fantasy football, right? Just what he can do with his legs. So I think I don't want to write him off just because he doesn't seem like the traditional QB prospect, because NFL is moving away from that to be able to win. But again, we have to remember we're playing a game that's not exactly what the NFL is looking for in their prospects, right?
We talk mock draft later. That's really good. Okay, we have to make this decision before the NFL draft. What does that look like? Of course, after the NFL draft, everything changes, or some things might not change. But still, I don't think Cam Ward's not going to the Titans. But of course, that's what we think. So
after yesterday, I'd be shocked.
Yeah. Now it's now it's time to move on to QB5 in our aggregate rankings, and that's Tyler Shough. Oh man, we're doing the name thing again. I shouldn't do that. Now he's QB5 in our aggregate because he's Jamie's QB5 and Rahul's QB6. We only ranked our top 6 for this episode specifically, but I do have him ranked at QB9. So Jamie, you are the highest. I'll let you talk with Tyler Shough.
Yeah, I did want to have a few things to say about Milroe. Do you want me to save that for the draft when we do the draft, or just move on to Shough?
Sorry, I thought you did talk about Milroe. My bad.
No, I just wanted to bring up Milroe's a raw prospect. We're not drafting him for his tools. We're drafting him, for the tools, not the polish and his elite speed. I know you mentioned Anthony Richardson. He is a better runner than Anthony Richardson, and he's also a better passer than Anthony Richardson. And we're not paying the price that we were drafting Anthony Richardson at in the beginning of the first round.
Yeah, for sure. He was regularly a top 5 pick for sure.
I think I spent like a 103 on Richardson in a rookie draft. He was like a borderline first round startup pick, like when he was
Yeah,
I mean, I'm pretty sure I saw him go 102
so
in a draft.
I see Milroe being a better runner than Jalen Hurts. So, and he's actually a better runner than Lamar Jackson. Honestly,
well, and I think Milroe is probably closer to Jackson's speed than he is. Those other guys are more like Richardson's whole thing is he is fast, but he's powerful. Right? So it's going to be a lot of rushing touchdowns, like we've seen from Hurts the last couple of years. Milroe does seem more like he's going to be the guy that accumulates a ton of rushing yards, and maybe I mean, like you said, Rahul, if he breaks one off, maybe that's probably tougher to do in the NFL. But that's how Lamar Jackson's done it. He I don't know how many of his rushing touchdowns are like this, but there's a decent percentage of them that are above 20 because he doesn't run that much in the red zone. So maybe Milroe does kind of run like Lamar, and it's a really safe floor on any given week. Whereas like Richardson, there's no floor. You're just going for the pure ceiling of him running in. So he, to your point, Jamie, like I don't know if that's the point you're trying to make, but he might produce like Lamar and Jaden Daniels do, as opposed to.
Well, I was gonna say that he needs the right coaching and like the developmental time. And if he gets that developmental time in the NFL, that dude could surprise us.
Right, surprise! It's Tyler Shough, right? That's number 5. No, we knew that. But yeah, go ahead, Jamie, because you are the highest on.
Yeah, Tyler Shough. I think that's how you pronounce it. I don't know how you get Shough out of.
Some people have been saying Shough, right? Yeah,
it is Shough. That's what it is.
Huh?
But anyway,
I just shuck all that out, so I don't really know. But...
dude's 6'5", runs a 4.6 40 time. He's got some wheels. He's got a strong arm. He's a great competitor. He has a shot to go somewhere. I'm thinking somewhere in that second round of the NFL draft. And if he does go that early, I think we need to take a shot on him in our rookie drafts. He's like a natural thrower. He's good at all levels of the field, especially on those deep passes. Like he can throw all kinds of body positions. He alters his arm. He just like when he rolls left, fading back, it doesn't matter. Like he just like alters his arm angles. It's weird the way that if you watch his tape, he's above average athlete. He extends plays, picks up chunk yards. Go check out that front flip that he did in the end zone versus Clemson. Like that right there, it gives me that competitive fire that you can't teach to someone.
Like that football, right? Next to you?
Yes.
Next to your head?
Yes, exactly. Like mentally, this dude, he's battle tested. Like 3 different offensive systems, including true under center work at Louisville. Like he adapted every time in a different type of offense. He's already 25, which is a knock. So it probably limits his time for growth. But you compare him to some of the younger guys in this class, I'm willing to take a chance on him. You're kind of already know what you're going to get at this point with Shough. What do you guys think? I know you don't even have him in your top 5 or 6.
No, I don't. But Rahul has him at 6, so we'll start there.
Yeah, I think Tyler Shough, he's definitely a guy who I can see start NFL games. I think he has a lot of I think he has a lot of tools that make him both ready for the pro game and someone who could be like a Jimmy G, like Aiden O'Connell type. I don't think there's many high ceiling. I honestly didn't see too many high ceiling traits about him, Jamie. But especially if he does go I've been seeing second round buzz. He is worth that shot. Again, athlete wise, I don't know if he's really that much of a rush threat. Is he going to be like a needle mover in fantasy football? I'm not too sure. I'm gonna let the NFL tell me on this one as well. Fun fact about him: 7-year college quarterback. Which though he did have multiple. That one wasn't a very fun fact, but he had multiple
injuries.
Pretty serious injuries. So I'm not going to hold that too far against him, but did back up Justin Herbert in college. So we want some context about how long he's been there.
There's a guy coming out this year, and maybe it is Tyler Shough, that played high school football against Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah,
and I think they were in the same recruit.
He was in the same recruiting class as Trevor Lawrence. Yeah, that is right.
Now the one thing, the reason I don't have him ranked in my top 6, of the 13 quarterbacks I scored for their prospect score, he has the lowest career completion percentage. So that does kind of concern me, especially at his advanced age. You figure that he'd be able to get that up, but
he throws the ball away a lot, which I
guess that's the mature NFL. The NFL will like that.
Exactly.
We don't love that. Every target completed, at least targeted to a receiver as possible.
I do think it's both good and bad. I think he's like mature enough to make like those decisions, but I would also like him to see. I would have liked to see him make or get more solutions with his actual play, instead of just throwing the ball away. Especially at the college level, right? He's only going to be stepping up to higher levels from here on out.
Now, in spite of the intro that Jamie pointed out, is it's rock music. I'm playing guitar on that. I do dabble in hip hop and rap music at times. Not that I make it. Well, I play the guitar on a track, but yeah, I do definitely listen. And this is without a doubt, you're so correct, Landon. But because I think Kendrick Lamar is the greatest rapper ever, so you could put Kendrick versus any hip hop artist and say Kendrick's better. Which I know Jamie is in this debate too, but that's just the user comment, so it wasn't totally unnecessary and totally
best rapper ever. I don't even think he's top 10.
I know you've debated.
I
also don't think Eminem is the greatest rapper ever, James.
I think that was a Canada jab. Well,
I don't think. I don't really like Drake that much, so that's fine. I don't think Drake's the greatest Canadian rapper ever. So like, just pick other better Canadian rappers. Prevail and Mad Dog from Swollen Members. I love Francois Gregoire from Kodiak. Also Frank.
Who's a better rapper than Lamar? Or
no one.
Not Lamar, Drake, the Canadian guy from the league, Taco.
Oh, John Latois. Yeah, I love him.
Yeah,
love his music.
He's awesome, man. He actually came out with some new stuff recently. You should go check out.
I think we'll get to it.
It's legit.
Never mind. I was going to transition. We want to get to a new name. After that tangent. I don't think I'm going to timestamp rap section in the episode, but we'll timestamp this. We'll tied for number 6 in our aggregate rankings. It's because at this point now we get to the players that only one of us have ranked. So Rahul, you have Quinn Ewers at number 5, and neither Jamie or I have him in our top 6. So go ahead and talk about Quinn Ewers.
I'll just give the 20-second spiel because honestly, having Quinn Ewers as QB5 might expose my lack of ball knowledge, but the only bullet point I have in my notes is ADV. Quinn Ewers is going to be the guy that a lot of, some more people in your dynasty leagues are going to know of Quinn Ewers than like the quarterbacks that his like talent level really puts him in the company of. If he gets into like kind of like an advantageous situation, high-powered offense or like a weak incumbent, keep an eye out because he suddenly gets that chance to start and you pedal that guy right quick
for a profit, right? Like wherever you draft him in a rookie draft, you can get that next round pick next year, probably.
Exactly, and as far as the actual prospect, I hear terrible things. Y'all are probably right. So that's all I want to say about Quinn Ewers.
Well, based on the mock drafts, yes, Tyler Shough's been getting some love, but it seems like more consistently Ewers is viewed as the 5th quarterback that's going to go. So back to, again, trusting the draft capital, the projected draft capital, there's a bit of security in that. Like you said, he's a guy that's got more of a name that's going to, if you draft him in a rookie draft, even if he doesn't get starts, but he's in a training camp battle, you might get a pick profit off that.
Exactly. ADV, right? Like coined by RageEQ, artificial dynasty value. Like those are the kind of things that could make the difference at the margins in your leagues. And even thinking about the NFL itself, it's still like, a bunch of, it's like an old boys club, right? Quinn Ewers is one of the highest rated prospects of all time. Like that could have a certain cachet that leads you to flip, your late 3rd round rookie pick into like a mid-second and you've made a decent profit there.
Maybe Landon's not going to love our Quinn Ewers takes, but the reason he's tied for 6, I've got Dillon Gabriel at 6, and it's the same situation. I've got him at QB5, and neither of you have him ranked inside the top 6. I will share my screen again to show why.
So wait, hold on. Before we talk about him, so London's in the chat. He's liking Quinn Ewers. I do have one thing to say that's good about him. Like he dominated on the road. He had 8 straight road wins with 15 touchdowns and just 1 interception. So that tells me that he doesn't get rattled very easily.
He can operate with silent counts and crowd noise isn't going to affect him.
Exactly.
He just he's number 10 here. If anyone's actually, again, I'm not sharing the screen.
But as a quarterback, he does get flat-footed against pressure. He doesn't navigate the pocket very well. He defaults to those short check downs instead of like working through his reads. So he struggles when like he's forced to improvise.
The problem with him though is he's another guy with the negative rush yards per game. So like I also don't know like if he's going to be a really good fantasy QB. Like he might be a better QB than some of these other guys that we're going to name, but I just don't think for fantasy like what's his appeal going to be? Is he going to be a strong touchdown thrower? Is he going to be that like Joe Burrow difference maker as a passer? Like I don't really view that. I don't think he's that great as a runner. So
yeah, I wouldn't spend a rookie pick on him.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think he's worth spending a rookie pick. I wouldn't right now though. Like I would rather invest in the guys that I think have the, or I guess I would rather just not draft the QBs and pick up some of these other guys in the rookie draft. So I guess actually, Jamie, I'm not willing to draft him right now. But if the NFL draft, he does go, he's the 5th QB taken early enough relative to everyone else, that yeah, he'll move up my rankings. But for now, he's QB 10 for me. But the reason I have Dillon Gabriel at QB 5, and this is why, Rahul, I thought you were wrong, because man, when I was looking these stats up, Dillon Gabriel, I think he's another guy that's been in college 5 years, 155 passing touchdowns. Like that alone is higher than anyone else's prospect score in this class. So a 207.1 is the second highest I've graded out for any drafted QB in the last 7 years. The only one higher is Lamar Jackson. That's because Lamar had like 60 rush yards per game or something in college. It was kind of ridiculous. So yeah, Gabriel, the touchdowns are there. The passing touchdowns are there, and that's why he just, for me, the guys that have no chance of going in the first round, he stands out the most to me for just this prospect score. 207.1. That's, if we were just grading everyone else that ever been drafted in the last, since 2017, I'm trying to do math. I think that's 8 drafts. I mean, he's second. Like that's, to me, that's pretty good. Like I'll take the shot on him over any of these other guys. None of them seem like they're going to get good enough capital.
Dillon Gabriel, to me, like he's more of like that rhythm passer. He's got the quick release. He's good timing. He thrives in like a tempo offense. Like, and one thing that stood out, he's a lefty, so like defenses will have to adjust to his playing style. He also has experience. I believe he had 50+ college career starts. Right,
we're gonna tell you get 155 passing touchdowns.
The dude can move, but he's not like a playmaker outside of like structured passing offense. He's more of like a distributor that is like a play creator. Does that make sense? He can create plays.
It's tough not to helmet scout, but this does seem like everything everyone was saying about Bo Nix the previous season.
Yeah, like I think he's a decent stash, and like in a deeper format, like I'm actually willing to take a chance on a Dillon Gabriel than I am on a Ewers, just for a fantasy standpoint.
And I mean, I don't think Ewers is going to get the 12th overall capital that Bo Nix had, but I think it's that same principle. Right? Like people are kind of hating on Bo Nix even after the NFL draft. He still fell way too far in rookie drafts, and Gabriel's not going to get that type of capital, so you're not going to have to worry about investing that type of price. But late 4th, even late 3rd.
I don't even think he's going to be drafted in rookie drafts where you could just.
No, I mean if you could
pick him up, throw him on your taxi.
I will say in my experience just now, I wasn't able to pick him up off waivers. Someone did actually draft him, but
damn. See, I would rather have like a Gabriel over Ewers.
It was also a 14-team league, and so it's gonna, especially with quarterbacks, push them higher. But I mean, I definitely would rather have Gabriel over Ewers. And my number 6 is Kurtis Rourke, as we can see here. So it's not quite the same hype that Landon does. I want to bring that comment up, but now we get to so he's my number 6, and they don't, Rahul and Jamie don't have him in the top 6. That's why he ends up tied for 8th. But Landon's where is this? Kurtis Rourke QB2. I love it. I love having the Canadian kid up that high. And actually, back to the stat sheet. I won't share it again. Probably making people dizzy going back and forth. But he is the second highest completion percentage of the 13 quarterbacks that I've ranked in this class. So, I mean, it's 67% is a little bit away from Shadeur's 71.8%, but it's that same principle. And he certainly helped himself last year. I mean, Indiana going to the college football playoffs, that's certainly going to help his odds of being drafted. So I'd love to see the Canadian kid get drafted. And but it's not biased. I mean, I'm looking at my prospect score, and again, outside of the the 4 guys with first-round potential, he grades out the highest. Just ahead of Riley Leonard, who we're not going to speak about. None of us have in the top 6. Leonard's actually the guy that leads this class in rush yards per game. He's the only one higher than Milroe. But he also, the passing touchdowns aren't there. Like only 45 relative to Kurtis Rourke with 79 passing touchdowns in his college career at both Ohio University and Indiana last year. So, yeah. And I mean, look at that. Landon also has Gabriel at QB5. So, yeah.
So
he agrees with Kyle. Kyle agrees with Landon. Everything is right, at least between the two of us. The rest of what you two think, my co-hosts.
If you don't know Kurtis Rourke, he's Nathan Rourke's brother.
Yep.
He was a backup on multiple teams. I know one was the Jaguars, and he went somewhere else. Now I believe Nathan's in the Canadian Football League.
Yeah, went back to the BC Lions.
So that's his younger brother. Like he could be a sleeper in this class. Honestly, he's got that big body quarterback. He's got that smooth delivery. Good decision making. He doesn't wow you in like any one area, but like he does everything at a competent level. Like Canadians are smart. They know how to run a country.
I mean, not every Canadian's smart.
Well,
I don't know about this one. But.
I like their healthcare, but anyway, he could be a great backup who sneaks into like a starting role down the line. Think of like a Taylor Heineke type player. That's kind of how I look at Kurtis Rourke.
Yeah, I think unlike Nate, because Nathan's best traits were he's so good against the blitz. He can evade pressure really well and complete passes under duress. It seems like Kurtis is more of a traditional pocket passer. And Kurtis, like, it's funny because Nathan's the older brother, but I think he's only like 6'1". So shorter stature, whereas Kurtis is like 6'4", 6'5". He's like more prototypical old school quarterback.
He might have had a different father. You never know.
In college, I don't know. No one ever knows anything, right? 16 point, just over 16 and a half rush yards per game. So I mean, that's more than Cam Ward. So I don't think he'll be a nothing as a runner. Not Milroe or even Jaxson Dart either. So that's why QB2 is, man, I love Kurtis Rourke, but QB2 is wild. I love Landon. Like that's yeah. Oh yeah. And Nathan was insane in the CFL. It's crazy that an NFL team never really gave him a chance.
So is there anyone else we need to talk about?
Well,
Kyle McCord.
I was going to say the national champion Will Howard. Jamie, he's your QB6, so that ties him with Rourke at 8. In my ranking, he's QB8, so I don't know how high you have him, Rahul. But
I mean, he's not someone I want to look for in fantasy, but like, dude, he does have a cannon. He throws with like velocity and confidence. Very good in like those play action plays. He uses his eyes. He pump fakes like a pro to manipulate the defenses, right? He's comfortable under center. He's got great drop back footwork, and he understands like those timing concepts against like zone defense, like pre-snap reads. They're sharp, sneaky athletic too. Like he won't wow you as a runner.
23 rush yards per game for his college career.
Yeah, he can move when needed. Like the only knock that I have in him is that he's 24 years old. So his developmental window is a lot shorter than most other younger prospects.
And he has the third most passing touchdowns for this group that we're talking about. Again, the 13 guys I rated out, 83 career passing touchdowns. So that's really good for his prospect score. But he also has the third lowest completion percentage of those 13 QBs, just ahead of Tyler Shough and just ahead of Riley Leonard, almost essentially identical. So Leonard gets the edge on him with the rush yards per game, almost 20 rush yards per game extra. So, but again, 23 rush yards per game. It's the third highest in this class. So he's kind of all over the place. Career interceptions is at 35, which is the highest. So there's a lot of boom to Will Howard. There also seems like there's a lot of bust. Like the negatives could definitely be there. Is he less accurate a passer than some of these other guys with the low completion percentage, the highest interception numbers? Is he just accurate, but he's not a great decision maker, so he's putting the ball in wrong spots? I don't really know, but there's enough risk there where I have him higher than Tyler Shough and Quinn Ewers right now, but it's the same type of risk reward factor. I do wonder if by winning the national champion if he gets the same kind of capital that Shough and Ewers are rumored to maybe get.
Yeah. I noticed you mentioned Riley Leonard a couple times. I just want to give the audience a little background on him. He's big, he's mobile, he has a strong arm. He doesn't have the stats others do in his class, but the scouts seem to love him, and they love his traits. Like he can move, he's tough. Like
he strikes me.
He's raw. Like he needs a lot of refinement in his passing ability, especially with like his accuracy and consistency. But
he strikes me like Anthony Richardson, right? Like, does he not remind you of Anthony Richardson?
Yes, exactly. He's a guy that's worth stashing in like deeper super flex leagues. Like if
he's probably going to get the chance to develop the footwork and the mechanics because he's not going to be forced to start early. We expect.
Yeah. Oh, did we lose somebody? There we go.
Well, no, I think
you guys were just talking about national champions, and I just want to shout out my Rams hat where I got autographed by Stetson Bennett.
Oh,
nice.
Camp last year. So, Will Howard, there could be a space for you. This is a tight end that got
the Rams have a tight.
But Stetson
awesome.
Bennett, Will Howard could be you.
All right. So, does that I kind of wanted to get the quarterbacks done before the hour mark. We're just over the hour mark.
Okay, so let's before we move to our rookie draft, I do want to have a bonus take. A guy from the Canadian University quarterback, Tyler Algersma. He was invited to the Senior Bowl, which is history right there because I don't think there was a Canadian University quarterback invited to the Senior Bowl since what, 1980, 1982? Like that was the year I was born.
Yeah, 82 was the last time a Canadian University QB was drafted in the NFL. I don't even know if that got to the Senior Bowl, so it could be the first ever.
First ever invited to the Senior Bowl. Like, dude's 6'6", he's got a strong arm. He plays in a pass-heavy system in college. His tape shows a lot of touch and timing. I don't know. He's a developmental guy also, but someone that I love to root for just because.
And
we love our
Canadian. Not a national champion, but they did lose in the Vanier Cup final. So, I mean, he took his team all the way, just couldn't quite beat, I think Laval won again. Rouge et Or, the gold standard of football programs in Canada. Between Laval and University of Montreal, I think they've got like 4 or 5 Vanier Cups in a row. So,
I mean,
I'll just had a 71.7% completion percentage, almost identical to Shadeur Sanders. But again, play in U Sports in Canada, not in the NCAA. So that's a tough one. Like I haven't ranked outside the top 10 because of that.
Yeah, same
the history's against him though. Like again, no Canadian QB has been drafted since 1982. But it seems like he's maybe got the best chance of any quarterback that's come out of Canada. So
it's got to root for him. Even if he fails, you got to root for him.
Yeah, for sure. Oh man, would love to see him get drafted. Mm-hmm. But from the Canadian perspective, I'm definitely taking more shots on Nathan Rourke. I think just the better odds of being drafted. I think, unfortunately. But yeah, speaking of drafts, time for.
Are we ready?
A rookie mock draft. So
all right. So who wants to go first, second, third?
I see Landon in the chat, and so Landon, what we're going to do is, if you want to, you could participate in this mock with us. So if it's we'll just alternate every 4 picks, I suppose. So 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever you want, Landon.
He does, of course, have that 101 in the trait we're going to talk about. So I wonder if he wants 101 or a different.
He wants to do practice just to see how it goes.
Let's do it.
Yeah,
Landon, take the 101.
Hopefully, it still is.
All right. So yeah. So we'll just I guess.
I have to switch over to the sleeper screen, so I'm not going to be able to see the chat.
Yeah, that's fine. We'll
so
get
just
you.
Give me Janty.
Yeah, he says give me Janty. So go ahead, Jamie, and set him up with the 101, and then you'll pick 5th, I guess, Landon. So who wants to go 2?
Wait, hold on. Sorry, I never.
Go 2 because I'm gonna double down. I am a Cam Ward guy. Give me Cam Ward at the 102.
All right. So and again, we're this rookie mock is for Superflex.
Yes. Yes.
I'll also do like a 0.75 tight end premium just to make it interesting.
So we're assuming a PPR league with 1.75 PPR for the tight ends.
Yeah, let's do it that way.
We'll talk about tight ends next week, but yes. So JB, do you want third? We'll go.
No, you
Natarajan,
go
Perog,
right
Senra,
ahead.
Alphabetical order. Okay.
You go right ahead. I'll
No
take the last
alphabetical order.
pick.
I'll take Amari and Hampton. Give me the guy
Well,
with the incredibly productive running back profile.
You just sniped me because I wanted Hampton. I would take Hampton at
Well, then we could have gone Natarajan, Perog, Senra. Would have been alphabetical order. Would have been.
You wanted to make it all difficult.
Well, if I missed out on Hampton, I'm gonna go with the other elite running back, and let's go Travion Henderson.
All right, so Landon, let us know what you want at the 105. I think we're planning to do.
What do you think about this?
If we do 2 rounds, that's 20 picks. That'll be 5 picks each. I think that'll be a pretty good number. So we'll do 2 rounds, then we'll get to the trade of the week.
We'll see. It's still early. We're only an hour in. We usually do 2-hour episodes.
Well, we usually do. I don't think we want to. Like, we're not aiming to, but we just talk so much. I mean, I guess it's we. It's not just me, but it is a lot.
I mean, there's so many people that's gonna fall to the 3rd round that I'm gonna want to take in the 2nd round. So I kind of want to give the audience my takes on those guys you're going to get a value at in those 3rd rounds.
Well, and so I guess one thing we'll do is we'll also preview next week. So I'm in a league where we do the rookie draft before the NFL draft. And usually we do it like the week of. I want Travis Hunter if he goes to the Browns.
Which
I would say for this,
I feel like we agree on.
And I mean, Landon, last week we did talk up Travis Hunter. I mean, Rahul, I guess I spoiled it. Go check out last week's episode, folks. But no, Rahul has him as his wide receiver 1 already. So I think you just sniped Rahul, to be honest.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, if Travis Hunter goes to the Browns, he is going to be more of a receiver than a cornerback. But you also have to remember, it is the Browns. So, like I said last week, you're
really hoping for Joe Flacco over Kenny Pickett, I think. Like,
oh shit,
that ain't Travis Hunter.
Right?
Hold on. Yeah, sorry, I'm not used to doing this on my computer. I always draft from my phone. So where is he? There he is.
All right, so Rahul, I guess you are at 105. Now you actually have to think about it because I assumed you were going to go Travis Hunter.
Yeah, I think I will go Ted McMillan here at the 106. I think I
have to. You kind of have to.
I feel real. If I'm sitting at the 106 and I get it, not to reference Landon's trade too much, but he had an offer with the 106. If I could get Ted McMillan 106, I'm feeling really good about that.
That's a smash right there. Yeah. So I was debating Ted McMillan or Henderson at my pick.
Yeah.
And it's funny because when I was first looking at the wide receiver numbers, I mentioned it last week, there was a really close debate between Ted McMillan and Luther Burden for me. So I'll take the wide receiver Luther Burden here at 107. Hope I get lucky that he goes into the 1st round.
All right. So you're going to go Luther Burden.
Yeah.
And with this being a 0.75 tight end premium, I would actually consider this guy at the 105.
Just because I know, I mean, go back to episode 2. We talked about our top 2 tiers in Dynasty, and Jamie had Warren as one in his number 2 tier overall for Dynasty tight ends.
Yes.
Were you considering him also at 104? Was that
not this early? I want Henderson.
If it was like say a start 2 tight end, then
if it was a 1 point tight end premium, I might consider him.
I was thinking 2 like start 2, like you minimum have to start 2. Like I feel like that's
if you minimum start 2 tight ends, I would take them at the 103.
I would say I think there's an argument to be made that like tight ends are even more scarce than quarterbacks, and he should probably go ahead of any quarterback in that type of format. But again, that's the format we're in. But it's the tight end range because Landon says, "Give me Colston Loveland."
I love that, man. I have Colston Loveland in my overall dynasty ranks 1 spot below Tyler Warren. So good pick, Landon. Okay. Let's go. Make this easy. There we go. Now who's up? Got the 110.
That is me up at the 110. This. Actually, disclaimer, I actually only play in half PPR leagues. I don't have a single PPR league, which could make this a little bit...
Strangest statements I've heard on a Dynasty show, but I love it.
Yeah, I don't have a single PPR league, but...
I tend to see a lot more half PPR and redraft. But in most
Yeah.
of the Dynasty leagues I'm in are PPR, so it's a weird distinction. So I tend to talk a lot half PPR when I'm talking like redraft season on the old podcast.
Yeah.
It would focus on PPR score when I was talking Dynasty season. So my brain is weird wired that.
Yeah. No, which so the PPR, just the PPR influence making me want to go half PPR in 2025. You're very no. I only play standard.
Well, I mean, that's also for as great a Dynasty player as Rahul is, and all the information he's gathered. I mean, you've only been playing Dynasty what, like 3-4 years? 4 years, I think.
2022 was my first Dynasty season. 2021 was my first ever fantasy season. Okay.
But he's still young. Like, he's behind the times, I guess.
There's still a long ways for me to go, but I am gonna stick with my half PPR roots and go with who I had as my RB3, and that's Quinn Judkins.
Great pick, awesome pick.
Yeah, again, like feeling great about the values I picked up in the last pick in this one here.
Like, yeah, I would have took Judkins as early as the 7th pick where Burden went, and I probably would have took Judkins over Warren if it wasn't that.
Yeah, which I then getting into that discussion of the formats. Quinn Judkins, we don't really expect him to be too involved from a pass catching role where maybe like even Caleb Johnson will probably see him get a little more work. But I just love Quinn Judkins, the runner, the athlete. So at the 110, like Simon.
Makes sense.
So
I think the Shadeur slide has gone too far. I think this is where I will take Shadeur Sanders.
All right, and you got to remember we are only doing a 10-team league just so we can fit it all on screen. Most people do 12 team.
In a 10-team league, this would be the format where Shadeur would fall, right? Like, okay, QB scarcity is a little less than a 12-team.
Right.
So if I was really purely thinking 10-team league, I might not go Shadeur here, but I feel like this feels about the range. So
guys, I'm getting so this is perfect. I'm so happy we're doing it. I'm so excited for the draft.
All right, Jamie, you're up now. You're at the 202.
So I'm up.
I do a 10-team league. Actually, Rahul's joining another one of my 10-team RSO leagues. Just because it's so hard to find 12 people that want to play that format, to be honest. So yeah, I definitely do play in 10-team leagues too.
Now this is the toughest pick for me because I have both of these guys in my top 10 overall.
Yeah, honestly, Jamie, 201 was tough for me too. I was kind of debating between two guys, but I'll stick with Shadeur.
Now, in a 10-team league, so I don't have the pick that I normally would have because you picked Cam Ward at the 2nd pick. So I'm adding to this team right here, right? So you think this team's not going to be that competitive? They're rebuilding. I'm going to have to go with the receiver over the running back. And I'm going to take Abuka.
That was the guy I was debating between. So yeah, great pick there, Jamie. And so we are at 10. I think we're happy with 10. But there was one other person. It's on the, I guess where we're all from is the Going for Two Live network. Danny Ocean there on Speak on It. I was co-hosting there last week, and he still hesitant to join more leagues. But I think just talking about the salary cap contract format, I may have intrigued him. So if he wants to join and I need a 12th person, I will definitely reach out to you. Yeah, I don't know if you ever played Rally Sports Online or salary cap contract formats, but it's awesome format. And I guess you are up, Landon. So just let us know who you want here at the 203.
Yeah, throw it in the chat. But I kind of like how we're doing this 10-team because if it was 12, we would get our own picks, right?
Yeah, no. So yeah, you're right. You're having to kind of
adding to a different team.
Now we also see in Dynasty enough picks get traded. Like very rarely do I see a Dynasty league where everyone is in their original pick slots. In fact, like that never happens. There's always trades, right? So stuff gets messed up anyway.
Matthew Golden. That's a great pick. I love that.
Seems like those are the 5 receivers, 5 wide receivers that are getting a lot of like.
And I feel like just based on the discussion we had around Matthew Golden, like, well, this is 203 and a 10-team or 201 and a 12-team is like I feel like a range that you'd feel much more comfortable about that kind of prospect, especially with like the analytical worries, just like not that much of a history of production. Like 201, like sign me up for.
He survived Ewers. He didn't get steward by Ewers.
If this wasn't a tight end premium, I could have seen Landon in the chat going Matthew Golden at the 9th pick and over London. And he would still get London where he took Golden. So I love that he got both of those picks.
Yeah, no, you managed it the right way to get both. I mean, yeah.
I think
we're pretty convicted on those players. I guess, Rahul, it's you up.
With my, keep him coming on my RB5, Caleb Johnson.
That's who I was debating on, yeah.
Easy one there for me.
Easy pick.
I mean, I don't know if this counts as sniping Jamie, but I'm going to go with Jamie's QB1 here, Jaxson Dart, because I think he's fallen too far.
Yeah, I guess maybe those QBs are a little hard. That's why I know when we discuss like planning these episodes, so I'm always a little bit like, let's do one with like a mock draft that like some analyst has done to assign some landing spots and draft capitals. Like I think these QBs are a little abstract in my head right now.
Landon says he likes Caleb Johnson, but scheme dependent.
Yeah, I think we touched on that. Like he probably of the top 5 RBs, I think we all, or at least Jamie and I had him RB5.
Yeah, I've got him on RB9. I'm a Caleb Johnson fader out of this.
Yeah. I think we did touch on that though. Yeah.
All right. I think the hate's gone too far. I've heard Trey Harris compared to, not as a receiver, but like God, it's like, remember last year when BTJ was going in the the early 2nd round? You can get BTJ at 203.
That was like especially pre-draft, right? Because
once
the draft happened,
even after the draft,
receiver off the board.
I think in your draft, that the league that I joined last year with you, I believe BTJ went at like 203, 204.
I thought he was late first, but
but I think Trey Harris could be that guy that could possibly become like a top 10 dynasty receiver in the future. Who knows? So I'm going to grab him here in the mid-1st round.
He was the 111.
Was he 111? Okay.
Brad's a Jaguars fan. He was not going to pass him. Brian Thomas Jr. 111. Now I think about it. Brad.
Maybe I'm thinking of McConkey, because I remember I think Gator got McConkey
for sure. So I guess you just took it's back to Landon here. Landon, this will be your last 207. Kurtis Rourke.
No. Remember, it is tight end premium.
This would be a little early. Cam Scattaboo.
Ooh.
You want Scattaboo?
It felt like Scattaboo Day on Twitter today. I want to say I was hearing a lot of buzz.
I mean, he's one of the guys I have ranked ahead of Caleb Johnson. So
yeah,
and also Quinn Jenkins and Trevion Henderson.
I feel like the next 4 picks need to be all running backs for some reason, because they could all be in the same.
I guess he can only snipe. Well, Rahul can definitely snipe.
I don't want to. I'm not going to say any names of players that are not yet taken, but this is kind of where, like, if that assumption top 40 NFL draft capital happens, Jalen Milroe, I think, is someone I'd be targeting heavily at this. Just the pure upside, right?
Yeah.
Take a swing like that, and just also talking about I guess now RB6 has gone off the board, but that's when you start to get like, okay, these running backs who might be in like handcuff situations in year 1. I think that's around the range. I also feel a little bit. All right, let's take that swing, and he might be an RB playing quarterback in the quarterback position, but yeah.
So in all the 12 team drafts that I've been in, as soon as Dart goes off the board, Milroe's like the very next pick or the pick right after that. So that's a great pick right there.
And I do find it a little funny because, again, I'm thinking like you, Jamie, where to me Dart is closer to Shadeur than he is to Milroe. But yet this is another example where he's 2 picks away from Milroe, but he's 3 spots away from Shadeur. So it's not super far apart, but I feel like that's more the norm, where Dart will go closer to Milroe in drafts, whereas I really do view it as he's almost like back-to-back for me in my overall rookie rankings with Shadeur. So And I guess back to my rankings. I mean, this pick should be evident and obvious. My RB3 in the class is Devin Neal. So give me Devin Neal here. Tremendous value. This is the value pick of the draft, and he goes in the 6th round of the NFL draft. But yeah, I love the tape. I mean, I can't remember if I mentioned this, but I've been doing running back tape grades with this scoring system that I'm using since 2020. So this will be the 6th draft. He's 7th overall, right behind DeAndre Swift and right ahead of Jonathan Taylor. That's really good company to me. I love what I saw from him on tape. The Raz wasn't as good as guys like Judkins, but yeah, give me all the Devin Neal I can handle. This is probably still too early for him, but I don't care. I'll take him.
All right, so where are we at?
The
So you think Devin Neal's will steal the draft, right?
I mean, I do because based on my rankings, I actually do think the Trey Harris pick might be one of the steals of the draft. Though.
But I'm also so it's my pick.
Yeah, finish
Okay.
out here, Jamie.
I'm gonna take the steal of the draft right here, and that's gonna be RJ Harvey.
He is the next running back up. Like I think that's probably is the pick I would have made too, Jamie. To be honest. Actually, no, I'd have gone with the Canadian bias and taken A. Manor probably. But.
Well, there's a couple receivers that I like over A. Manor, but A. Manor's in my top 20. So is RJ Harvey. RJ Harvey's in my top 20.
Landon's a huge R. I think he said he was RB5 for him. RJ Harvey was.
I guess he took Scatabo earlier, so he likes Scatabo even more. I love that too. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Like I also have a tight end that's not even drafted above Harvey, which I probably should have took two.
You're thinking Fannin?
No.
Or Ferguson.
No.
It's Ferguson.
We'll talk about that next week. But
right,
he is in my top 20.
Our tight end episode is next week, right?
I have him above Scatabo, A. Manor, but I have RJ Harvey a spot ahead of him. So did you guys want to go just a few more picks? Just give people our top 20s.
We do have top 20.
Well, no, there's like three or more.
Okay, do you want to do one more pick each, and that way it's 24 picks, and that's what's viewed as
And 24. Yeah, let's do that.
All right, so go ahead. I guess. So
Landon.
I guess if the crowd wants us to keep going.
Yeah, Landon wants to keep going. I want to keep going.
All right.
So Landon's up. Who does he want?
Yeah. You can go ahead and let us know, Landon, whenever you're ready. But we can. Well, we've already called out all the names for the honorable mentions, and everyone knows where I'm going. Dillon Sampson, another running back. So this is running back run. That's 3 of the last 4 picks have been running backs. And I guess Landon thinks Milroe's a running back, so it's actually 5 picks in a row that are running backs. Or I guess 4 of the last 5 have been running backs. 3 in a row now.
Yeah, Dillon Sampson is my next guy off the board too. So that's a great pick right there. And then it kind of falls off for the running backs.
Yeah.
Well, there's one guy I still really like. But go ahead.
Well, I'm actually gonna go back to the wide receiver because I do think this guy is a candidate to go in the top 50 in the NFL draft. I think top 50 for wide receivers at the threshold that I look at. Give me James.
Connor has been talking about that recently. Like top 50 is really his cutoff. Like he said, if a receiver doesn't go inside the top 50, I don't even want to draft him in a rookie.
Yeah.
No, all right, so
exactly. Jaden Higgins, please. Jaden Higgins.
All right, cool.
Not sniped.
Right.
This is my Walmart Nico Collins. I'm calling.
No, I love Jaden Higgins.
Dillon Sampson's better than Jalen Wright. I think
no, that's 100%. Cody Carpentier said that like 3 months ago, and it got stuck in my brain that Dillon Sampson is a better version of Jalen Wright. 100% agree.
Okay, so I'm looking at film grades. What did I have? Yeah, actually, their film grades are almost identical. I think they're pretty close, actually. Production, a little bit better for Sampson. We don't have a RAS score for. I don't know. I think they're pretty close. The thing is, we didn't have a RAS score for Dillon Sampson. At least I didn't see one.
So I still have 3 guys left in my top 20, and we're on pick 23.
I mean, I'm going with the Canadian pick. Give me Ilike Manor.
Okay, yeah, he is one that's in my top 20, so I'll take him off the board.
Thank you for not sniping me, Rahul. But again, I guess I should have known that. I mean, you're not a huge A man fan, at least not to Jamie and I's point. You didn't even rank him in the top 10 last week, so. Yes, you got to watch last week's episode to find out where Jamie and I ranked him. But yeah, Jamie, you want to close out this little mini mock here?
Yeah. Normally I would. This was a real draft. This would be tough because I have Arroyo in my top 20 because it's tight end premium. But I just love this guy so much that I can't pass him up. I'm willing to take him in the mid-second round. And that's Jalen Noel. That's Jalen Noel. No, Restrepo, no. Not Restrepo, no. You don't
Restrepo, no, right?
I passed up that guy.
Restrepo, I drafted him accidentally.
Restrepo slow. But no, it's Jalen Noel. We talked about him last week. I think he's going to be awesome. I actually like him above the Higgins pick. But when if Jalen Noel would have went.
I love the Higgins pick. Good job, bro.
If Noel went above Higgins, which he normally does in every single 90% of drafts, I would have took Higgins at this pick.
I think these are the last receivers. Like these are like 3 guys we could see getting top 50 capital, and then like anything below them, I'm really skeptical. I mean,
we still got Besh, Royals, but that's it.
Kyle Williams. I don't think he's gonna be a top 50 pick though.
Yeah, and you might not have to draft Kyle Williams.
Well, see, I love this landing, dude. You need to join us more often.
Kyle, their first name.
But also, I don't know how many offensive players named Kyle had a single season receiving yards per team pass attempt of above 3, or I guess at 3.
Hey, let's pull up Landon's last.
So Landon, thanks for staying with us. I mean, we'd say, thanks for being patient, but you did actually enjoy the episode, so we're happy that you could enjoy this painlessly and not have to like worry the whole episode when's the trade coming. But here we are, trade of the week, and brought to you by Landon. So thank you, Landon, for reaching out. It is a 10-team start 10 Superflex PPR league. I think he also mentioned 6 points for passing touchdown, and then the rest is conventional sleeper scoring. Trade for the 101. We talked about it last week or 2 weeks ago, so call back to that. 101 on one side, the only piece, and the other 2 picks and 2 players. The 106, 26 first, DJ Moore and Mark Andrews. So once again, that is the rookie 101 in exchange for the 106, a 2026 first, DJ Moore and Mark Andrews. So I guess Landon, if you want to add context throughout, feel free to message. We'll throw your messages up. But Rahul, he reached out to you. So what were your thoughts?
Yeah, this is interesting because first to approach this in a vacuum, I really felt like this was a pretty fair trade, one that I would consider moving the 101 away for. I think you're getting more than 3 firsts in value with the 106, 26 first, and I'm feeling real good about DJ Moore. The less said about Mark Andrews for all he's done to me, the better. But in a vacuum, I felt really good about this trade, and very curious to know what you guys think. I think even we just saw there, 106 was Ted McMillan. Would feel very good about that. Though I do hear what Landon's saying. Jetty is too much of an elite asset. The way that I think I had said RB3, and he made a good point that the gap from like RB3 to Genty might be wider than like RB3 to like whoever the RB10 is, and that's very fair. But in a vacuum, I liked it. He then gave a little more context about the team and the assets behind it. So I don't know if we want to dive into that, or you guys want to share your thoughts about just trading a vacuum.
Yeah, we can throw in the context.
Yeah, so context. So roster-wise, it is a super flex league, start 10, but Landon's really the only quarterback expected to have a starting job next year is Justin Herbert. We have Kirk Cousins and Anthony Richardson who lost their job, so I see how that kind of fell away. He has a lot of veterans on that team with like Derrick Henry, Devontae Adams, Kamara, but elite QB. And I think just when
he's thinking taking Kurtis Rourke at 106. I like it.
What?
I mean that I mean Ward probably doesn't fall, but if you if you really like Jaxson Dart, like that's maybe not the worst decision in the world, or you could maybe even trade back further from 106
further, yeah. But I really think, given the context, and I'll pass it over in a sec, but just given the context, I would not want to leave this draft without QB, like other QB hole addressed. I think you've almost got like a golden auto ticket to like really name your price almost, name your player you want almost, and I would really want to get that sorted.
Do you have any second round picks?
Oh yeah. Let us know, Landon, if you have any second round picks, because that might be, as we saw in this second round here, there were 3 quarterbacks to go.
Yeah.
In this 10-team league, so I guess maybe this mock draft works for this league, right? And maybe others aren't feeling the QB scarcity that much. So one of these 3. I mean, again, like you really do want to get the starter, right? So
205 could be Milroe.
I mean, Jaxson Dart was 205.
Jaxson Dart in a 10-team. That's so.
If you got McMillan and Jaxson Dart, like if you want to just say let's just throw those names on, McMillan, Jaxson Dart, DJ Moore, and Mark Andrews. Is that that's 4 starters for Genty? Is that enough to? Let's start 10, so it's medium depth wise. Like it's not necessarily where super deep rosters, but it's also not super shallow. It's kind of like neutral right in the middle. So having 4 starters isn't anything. That's no joke.
And 26 first is as well.
Yeah,
and that 26 first, that's not going to get injured.
I guess
that's going to sit on your team.
Yeah,
the 2026 first, you're going to have that asset next year. You can even use it to move up. It's just going to like a screwed value. It's going to like multiply. But you're getting DJ Moore, who I love this year.
Yeah.
106. Let's say you get Henderson or Judkins at 106. You're still getting a top 12 guy for Dynasty at running back, in my eyes. You're not getting a top 5 guy like Genty, but you're still getting that back end of the top 12.
I guess it's interesting though.
To go running back.
Yeah, like not to cut you off, Jamie, but just referring to what he had said in the chat, where Scadaboo and RJ Harvey, or you say
RB3A and 3B.
Yeah, so then I guess that could also be like a hesitation with trading down to the 106, where your conventional like Hendersons or Judkins and such might go. It just might not be like the type of player that he's valuing in that range. So I actually do see it.
Now this one message.
Quarterback needy.
He said, "What'd you say, Jimmy?
Does this team actually need a quarterback?"
Well, he mentioned Herbert, Cousins, and Richardson.
Yeah.
So you could trade that 101 for like a Drake May. That seems kind of even to me.
See,
straight up.
I don't love doing that. I almost prefer give me the package and then trade the 106 for a QB. I mean, I guess it's the same principle, right?
Or you could trade the next year's first for like a Justin Herbert, Bo Nix.
He has Herbert, right? Because that's the one starter he has.
Okay, so
that's the one dude he can't trade for, but that's good because he has Herbert. Like that's at least a starting point.
Bo Nix for that 2026 first, straight up. Someone might do that. He's in my top 10 overall Dynasty quarterbacks.
Same here. Yeah, I do like Bo Nix. I think he showed enough last year. I'm willing to invest in him.
But in a vacuum,
I mean, he's Landon mentions it's too hard to hit on QBs. He's not wanting to pay the draft prices. So that to your point, Jamie, the best thing to do might be not be targeting a yeah, exactly. You're not targeting a rookie QB. You're trading.
But I wouldn't give up.
His brother has Nix and won't trade him.
Okay, so try Drake May.
Out. Well, and I mean, if you want to approach this as a 1-year thing, Justin Fields is probably cheap enough to acquire.
You can get him for
we'll fill in the gap and get you the points. You're not making a long-term investment in quarterback, but it also seems like Landon, this one comment again, not wanting to pay the QB prices, will build the rest of my roster with wide receivers, running backs, tight end. You want elite assets there. So you're saying your QB2, because Herbert's going to be a solid QB1 long-term, and your QB2 is maybe something you address on a short-term basis. You love having a guy like Richardson in that type of context where you're not relying on his long-term value, but if he does get a series of starts, the points are there. Joe Flacco could be his QB2.
Joe Flacco could be your QB1 because he put up top 5 numbers with the Browns when he played with the Browns. So that could be a QB1.
Chase the volume, baby. And 6-point passing touchdown.
But going
right?
off field,
you're just
going for 2, Mike Hicks. He messaged me about a month ago, was asking me about Fields. I'm like, I don't want nothing to do with Fields. But then I kind of came around. I was like, I might give up like a mid-second for Fields just to have him on my team this year because Fields is in my top 12 redraft rankings right now in best ball.
Yeah.
But in Dynasty, yeah, he is more closer to that like QB 20 range. So if you can give up that 205 for Fields straight up,
that solves your short-term QB2
that's
problem.
a really good idea.
Yeah,
I want to chime in because on
and
this
still
like
pick up Joe Flacco. Sorry, Rahul.
Yeah,
trade for Fields and also pick up Flacco. Like
on this like
100%.
short-term fixed idea and why that also could be a good avenue is just to go down like his roster even more specifically. It's a QB is just like Justin Herbert, then Richardson and Cousins. Running back, it's Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, Alvin Kamara, James Conner. And then he's got Devontae Adams, Keenan Allen, Cooper Kupp. He has Zay Flowers, a younger player. Then I zoomed out those are the main real stars. He's got Ray Davis in there, who Lane and I both really do love Ray Davis.
I love Ray Davis too.
Kamani Vidal, I love that. That's a throwback to last year. But I again, just to make that context as to why a short-term QB2 solution could honestly even fit in with like with where this team could compete, right? With that like running back like firepower. So I do see that vision as well. In that sense, if you like, let's say 205 is Justin Fields, do you then stick and pick still with Genty, or would you still look at a trade back, or would you go Genty then, Kyle?
Yeah, I think that's kind of what I was going to get to. Again, back to this one comment, right? Like, and he just repeated again. He doesn't want to draft QBs. He wants to build around elite players, elite running backs, wide receivers, tight end. Yeah, I think Mark Andrews is past speed an elite tight end, and I wouldn't quite consider DJ Moore to be an elite receiver. Pretty good. He had that one elite season, ranging enough with Justin Fields, but I don't think that he's going to repeat that with Caleb. So the elite asset in this trade is Ashton Genty, and again, maybe you get an elite running back at 106. Again, could you get either Travis Hunter or Tetra McMillan? Like, do those count as elite prospects as well? Like, that could be an avenue to get one, but feels like the chance of just getting Genty and adding him to this team does seem pretty strong. So, I think.
I like that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can you go out and try and buy Fields for the 205 right now, and then that kind of before you accept or whatever decide to do anything with this offer, you see that avenue first. What can I do with my 205? Now, I don't know if this is this is in your inbox, Landon. If this trade is something you've just been thinking about potentially sending out, I'd hold off and try the trade with the 205. But if it's in your inbox, I do get.
So wait, who brought up Vidal?
Well, he has one.
It's on. He's on his taxi.
Okay, because I don't know if you guys knew this, but did you know Kamani Vidal is the great nephew of legend Hank Aaron? So he's got that bloodline.
Really?
What? Hit home runs? How's that going to help him? I guess actually, he hit a home run on his first play, right? First catch in his career, he throws. He scores a touchdown. There you go. So he's only a boom bust player. He's either getting you like 50 yards or.
I mean, that's why we loved George Pickens so much, is because he's Bo Jackson's great nephew, right?
I didn't know that we love George Pickens. Okay, so I mean, this is an active trade. Like, I don't know if there's a timer on it, if like the trade is set to expire at a certain point, but before responding, I would try and see 205. What can I get? Can that buy you a Justin Fields? Can that buy you a Sam Darnold? No timer. So you're saying there might be
Matt Stafford perhaps with the Devontae Adams coming back. Like Devontae Adams, Yeah, I mean, exactly.
That probably helps. Like that probably elevates Stafford's value to
Geno
you.
Smith?
Yeah.
Geno, any of that tier. I was gonna say Derek Carr, but maybe that's not a good idea.
No, Derek Carr might not play ever again for the Saints.
Yeah, so Fields, Darnold, Stafford, Geno. I think those are maybe 4 guys.
I don't even like Darnold, man. Like, I think he was a product of the O'Connell system.
I tend to agree too.
He made Mullins and Josh Dobbs a top 10 quarterback. And where are they now?
He says he likes Stafford and Geno, so maybe just forego the young guys and go for the old guys. Like just build into and Genty would in theory help that win now idea. I guess the other part of the trade too. If you were to make this trade right now, if your roster is full, you've got to cut 2 players to take on DJ Moore and Mark Andrews. So I guess to that context, Landon, I don't know. I think Rahul, you can see his whole roster.
Oh yeah, there's quite a few players.
Okay, so those spots aren't really the hang up on.
It's not. I don't think it's a concern on that. Bro.
But honestly, like in a vacuum, getting those 4 players for just Genty, that's great to me. Normally I'd be like, oh, well, you're giving up 15 pennies for a quarter, but in this situation, you're giving up like $100 bill, and someone's giving you like 6 $20 bills, which is even more than $100.
And Mark Andrews and Mark.
So I do like the value. I like the value on that.
It seems like if you're going to sell Genty, this is the type of structure you'd want, right? Like, because it's tough to trade down from Genty and not get quantity of pieces. Like you're not going to get the same quality. So if I'm trading down from Genty, I better be getting again multiple starters. Like this is, if you count the 106 as a starter, you're getting 3 starters for 1 with that 26 first. I mean, if you're competing, this 26 first might not even last till 26. Like that could be a trade chip you use in season to help you compete as well. So that's the flexibility. But I get the sense that Landon doesn't want to do this trade, right? He's really looking for us to like convince him to make the trade. And I think in that sense, I'll go back to our going for 2 family, the doc, right? Dr. James Freddy, his trade philosophy, he does not get a ton of trades done. He will get trades done. His philosophy is if you send him an offer and it's not like an immediate, hell yes, I want to do this, he's probably not making the trade. Like he's someone who just, if this value overwhelms me right off the bat, I'll make the trade. This feels like a trade where Doc would see it, would think about it, and then ultimately not take it because it's not a hell yes. Like this is proper value, but it's not, man, you're robbing this guy blind. Like you're giving him Genty, but you're taking so much away that he's not going to maximize Genty. Losing DJ Moore and Mark Andrews, like if this other manager, those are probably not the pillars to help them compete, right? Like Genty is probably helping that other manager compete, so they can help you compete. So
like a 1-for-1, like if you were looking for a running back, wide receiver, or a top quarterback, Genty is a top running back to me.
We're all talking about him as an RB3, RB4.
His value, no, not even like his value to me equals a Malik Neighbors type, like above Brian Thomas.
See, I think I'd rather have both those receivers over Genty. I would sell the 101 straight up for either of those receivers.
Exactly.
So I'm not quite there, but RB3, right? Because we're not talking other running backs, right? We're talking relative to other positions. So running back being the major need, this guarantees you the running back. Like I think, Rahul, you made the point. It could be a draft like this where Genty, Hampton, and Henderson go in the first 4, and at 106, like you're taking a receiver, but that's not necessarily the position you want. Right? Like this is the context of best player available and the position of need both fit running back. Take Genty 101. So the more we talk about it, the more I feel like I don't want to be the one to tell Landon to trade away the 101 for this. So I'm kind of the more. I think I've gotten to the point where I think you just hold the 101. I think there's a chance this isn't the best offer you're going to get for the 1. Like hold out for something better, and if that never comes, then maybe Genty's points are what's going to be the best outcome.
I guess I like, whether or not I agree with you, I what I really do agree with is trying different solutions to fix the QB need. Like we suggested earlier, using the 205. Like, I mean, he does have like I listed Saquon, Derrick Henry, Connor, Kamara. Maybe one of them in 205 goes for like Stafford plus a little more. If you can find an alternate solution to that QB dilemma, then it clears up a little bit your thinking with the 101. You can see what really is the best move to
go with Kamara in the 205 for Stafford and say a 26-second, right? Like push the pick back. Now that might not work with every manager, but there are some managers out there that they view the time aspect of like even the 212 is worth more than a 26-second because I get to make that pick this year. Not everyone thinks that way though, right? So that might not fly, but I actually prefer almost pushing the pick out. Gives you the flexibility. You don't have to select the rookie with it. You can trade it in season. You can hold it and you can wait all till next year to make the pick too. So I think Stafford and Geno might be the targets with the 205. So nothing to do with this trade here, but this was still a great trade of the week. So thank you, Landon. Gave a lot of discussion and practicality of how to approach a league. And this was a really sizable trade. So really appreciate that. Sizable episode. We definitely made it. Got far in there, but absolutely a blast. Football on fire type of blast to co-host this great show with Rahul and Jamie. So thanks everyone for checking out another episode of the Dynasty Six Pack. Again, reminder to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. If you're listening on audio, but if you're with us on YouTube, subscribe there. Check out fantasy6pack.com as well as the Fantasy Six Pack Discord. There's different tiers. The different stages available to join and interact with us on the Fantasy Six Pack Discord. Any other comments before we head out, guys?
Great episode. Great. And glad my Wi-Fi worked the whole time. 100% completion percentage. 97%. I ran off for a second to go get this house.
Well, that more just worried us than anything. But I could see that on my end, I could see that you weren't disconnected. Your just video was off. So I thought, okay, he's. That'll just be really. I thought there wouldn't be a problem, but
much like Anthony Richardson, I need to take a brief breather.
Tap out.
Great episode, guys. As usual. And like I said in the middle of this, I am so damn excited for the NFL draft, for rookie draft season to really kick off.
Yeah, well, that's a wrap. To all you quarterback fans, let's not sugarcoat it. This class isn't really overflowing with elite talent, but every drop of production counts in the game that we play. So if you want more insight, just keep following us over at the Fantasy Six Pack, and make sure you follow us, Rahul, Kyle, Jamie. I mean,
got our Twitter handles up there.
Yes.
Senra says for myself, Small Talk FF for Rahul, at Jamie Perog, or Mr. Jamie Perog. Very
keep it simple. Well, let's keep it fired up, and we'll catch you next time.
As fiery as a flaming football, being thrown by who's got the strongest arm in this class? We'll just say it's Joe Milton. I know how much Jamie.
I do.
Okay, Jamie does. So a flaming fiery football to the face from Jamie. That's a great way to wake you up and I guess go make a dynasty trade. But yes, we'll conclude the rookie talk next week here on the Dynasty Six Pack. So thank you everyone for watching. We'll talk tight ends. We'll even maybe look into a real NFL draft, rookie draft, and see the results there. So thank you, Landon, for not only providing the trade of the week, but also joining us in the chat all episodes. Great to interact with you. Hope to see you back soon, and hope to see everyone back for the next episode of the Dynasty Six Pack. Goodbye.